Hello guys and welcome once again to Everdream. Today we're going to be looking into the abilities of the heroic spirit Iskandar, or as is more popularly known as Alexander the Great. As usual, I need you guys to support me by clicking the like button on your screen as well as subscribing to my channel. You can also go a step further and click the notification bell to get notified when I drop future videos. Thank you guys for taking the time, and now the video. Alexander the Great, or Iskandar, was a Macedonian king who was made famous for launching the most ambitious yet successful military campaign in world history till date, during which he actually tried to take control of the entire known world. And though he would ultimately fail to achieve this goal and would meet a rather untimely death in the city of Babylon, his numerous adventures, accomplishments and conquests during his life would forever cement his status as the king of conquerors and a powerful heroic spirit, one that is summoned through the Grail as the rider class of servant. Now as rider, Iskandar possesses 3 personal skills, all based on attributes he had when he was alive. The first being military tactics rank B, a skill which grants him the ability to competently command men in battle with the skill and wisdom gained during his decade-long campaign, in which he never once suffered a single defeat, which if you think about is just insane. But despite this, it's his rank A charisma that is said to be his greatest skill. For you see, as great as Iskandar was at beating his opponents in the field of battle, he is even better at winning the loyalties of the enemies he had just defeated. Such is the nature of his charisma, as he easily inspires respect and camaraderie in almost everyone he meets. Even Gilgamesh, in all his vanity, was not immune to Ryder's charms, and that actually says a whole lot. But as if having a mindful strategy and godly charisma wasn't enough, he also has the divinity skill rank C, which is a skill that stems from his supposed status as a son of Zeus. And that's everything on personal skills. Moving on to class skills, he's got the standard rider package, which is the riding skill rank A, a skill that lets him mount any vehicle or beast, phantasmal or not, with the exception of dragons. Then there's magic resistance rank D, a skill which serves to protect him from single action spells. In terms of combat, Iskandar, like most rider servants, wields a melee weapon, which in this case is his short sword. And from the few occasions he's had to fight with only this weapon, we can see that he's at the very least a decent fighter, especially from his fights with Assassin. But just how good of a fighter he really is still largely remains unexplored. Moving on to his Noble Phantasms, which is what you no doubt have been waiting for, Riders got 3. The first being the Gordius Wheel, Wheel of Heaven's Authority, which is a chariot, one pulled by 2 divine bulls and armed with 2 large blades on either of its sides. It was first acquired by Iskandar after his famous cutting of the Gordian knot during his world conquest, and, like most rider mounts, this chariot can be summoned at will to be used primarily as a form of transportation. But in regards to its offensive capabilities, besides the 2 big ass blades on either of its sides that FYI are strong enough to cut through solid stone, Rider can use this Noble Phantasm to perform his second Noble Phantasm, Via Exponatio, which is the fancy name given to the act of running over someone at full speed with a bunch of cows. But seriously, this move, which is considered to be the Gordius' Wheel's trump card, should not be taken lightly, as it is an anti-army attack capable of inflicting some serious damage, as not only does whatever is in its path get bulldozed by the full weight of the stampeding bulls and the chariot itself, but additional damage is inflicted from the lightning aura that surrounds the bulls. I should note that for it to be performed, Rider has to call this phantasm by name, an act which drastically increases the power and speed behind what would otherwise be a normal stampeding attack. Now should something happen to this chariot and Rider is left without, well, a ride, he can always summon forth his famed horse Persepolis in much the same manner he summons the Gordius Wheel. And much like Gordius Wheel, Persepolis can also fly and be imbued with lightning aura. But I should state that Persepolis itself isn't a noble phantasm, but a heroic spirit, one summoned through the use of Iskandar's third and most powerful phantasm, the Ionian Hetyroi, Army of the King. This phantasm, which in itself is a reality marble, generates an endless desert in which the tens of thousands of soldiers who made up the great army of Iskandar are summoned to once again serve their former king. But the fact that Iskandar is not a mage means ordinarily it shouldn't even be possible for him to create a reality marble in the first place. As such, this marble is only made possible through the combined efforts Ryder has with those very same people he attempts to summon, which is why the Ionian Hetairoi is said to be the very embodiment of the bond he has with his fellow warriors, all of whom still willingly choose to answer his summons to fight, despite some of them actually having become kings in their own right during their lifetime. And with the sheer number of spirits that can be summoned, this phantasm is ranked as EX. Side note, most people tend to confuse the servant Eumenes of Cardia with the mage Waver Velvet, and I can't really blame them as the two do look a lot alike, but they are different people. I felt I had to clear up this misconception and remind everyone that it is still unknown if someone like Waver, who pledged his allegiance to Iskandar during the 4th Holy Grail War and not during his lifetime, even can join the ranks of the Hetairoi. Personally, I don't see why not, but we've yet to receive official confirmation, and you have to bear that in mind. Getting back on point, we've talked a bit about what this phantasm is, so let's look into how it operates. The move begins with Ryder generating a wave of energy that engulfs everything within a particular radius, and anything within this radius can then be brought into the Noble Phantasm and positioned within it in any way Ryder sees fit. For instance, he could have his enemies either surrounded by his army or facing them directly. Then Ryder, usually mounted on either Persepolis or the Gordius Wheel, makes his charge and kills his enemies. Kills them dead. Pretty simple. But there is a bit more. Ryder can also control where those that enter the marble are placed back in the real world, as long as it's within a 100-meter radius of where the phantasm was first activated. And that's not all. He can even choose to bring one servant from his army into the real world, like he did with Persepolis and Mithrinis. But despite its many perks, this phantasm has 3 major drawbacks. The first being, like most reality marbles, it can be used for more than a few minutes at a time. The second, it requires a lot of mana to activate, Iskandar himself only being able to use it 2 nights in a row under his own power before being so drained of energy he can't even maintain his physical form. And the third, if a large portion of the army is destroyed, the reality marble would simply fall apart. All this being said, the drawback, at least the one of its insane mana cost, can be reduced if Ryder simply summons a fraction of his army, instead of summoning, literally everybody. And that is pretty much everything on Ryder's abilities. I hope you found this video useful and or entertaining, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like rating and comment on the video. Sharing this video on social media to those who you think would love to see it would likewise be appreciated, as it enables more people view my channel, which is incentive enough for me to keep making these videos. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, I recommend you hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. You should also hit the notification bell to get notified when I drop future videos, as I do upload regularly. In addition to Fates, I do comic book and Ben 10 videos as well as AMVs. Feel free to check out my channel, who knows, you might like what you see. Iskandar, being one of my personal favorites, was a joy to talk about, and I hope that you guys will share this video so I can get encouraged to review even more of my favorite servants from the Fate franchise. Till then guys, see you later.